Fresco is, in direct translation, this word means fresh. And it obviously refers to that you have to paint on fresh plaster while it's still wet. The reason you want to paint while it's still wet is because plaster doesn't really dry, the wet plaster. It calcifies, it crystallizes, so it turns, it builds a crystal that becomes a stone. And an artist needs to apply the paint while that process is happening. So that new crystal, calcite crystal, grows around the pigment and binds the pigment to the wall, permanently fusing it to the surface. And after that, you can't remove it or you cannot change it because the reaction is over. So after that, plaster owns your paint. Well, ironically, to the large paintings I do right now, I started with egg temper doing miniatures. But my experience in art began a while back. When I was a kid, about 8 years old, I loved to draw, and I drew a lot. And at one day, I came across a book of Michelangelo's drawings, and mine weren't as good, at least in my opinion. And we were taught that children are supposed to be, like all the great artists, could draw immediately, just right after they were born. And in 80-year-old mind, it just put an imprint. So I figured, well, if I'm not as good as Michelangelo, I probably shouldn't be trying, because I didn't want to be a mediocre artist. And so that was how it all started. Then 8 years later, I started doing miniature painting with the egg temper. And I'd been doing it for a while, until probably 17 or 18, when I switched to a larger scale in oils. And I've been pretty successful. I had exhibits, museum exhibits, and gallery exhibits pretty soon. And in fact, I came to America, invited by a museum with a personal show in 1992. So I've learned mostly working with master artists as apprentice, and I served 3 apprenticeships, 4 years each, during my younger years. In short, why did I decide to do Fresco? In addition to it being really perfectly fitting, my temperament and my ability, it also sounded like a good way to clean up. Since nobody's doing it, then there will be no competition. So I'll have a head start. And that's basically what I took, a big head start that lasted about 15 years, until I started getting large fresco commissions and recognition as a fresco artist. And because I did put my exhibition career completely on hold while I was developing the school and developing my own understanding of the medium. And I thought that building a school will bring it closer, the ability to see fresco being painted in every town. My real calling is fresco, because I did combine my urge to spontaneous expression and at the same time a necessity of thorough study prior to work. And fresco gave me both, because you have to do a lot of studies, and you have to prepare yourself, everything, cartoon and all the compositional details, and literally kind of see the painting happen before your hands. But then when you're actually painting on wet plaster, you have a very limited time, and you cannot make changes or change your mind or do the alterations, major alterations. So you kind of like dancing, Michael Jackson said you cannot think and dance, and in fresco it's pretty much the same thing. So when you are hitting the wall and you have to complete the work, you have to complete it from start to finish in that one sitting, and it is really as free as and expressionistic as it could be.